I'm looking forward to getting into this one, to be fair. I think we saw CYCLOPS last time. We saw them, as we say, not CYCLOPS, sorry, Sandbox. We saw them on the attack. We saw them taking liberties with Ossa, using a little bit of Monty. They really had difficulties. I'm not sure how they can solve those difficulties in only, 1 day of practice.
Bring utility burn!
That was exactly their problem. They were too late to bring it, so I'm hoping they start off with utility ban. Because if CYCLOPS have anything about them, and I know they do, they'll have reviewed the VOD, they'll have seen that's what Sandbox's difficulties was. They'll play Shields, they'll play Jaeger, they'll play Wamai, and they'll really present problems.
Well, we'll see what problems can be presented to CYCLOPS in the banning phase as the operators start to get removed. It's going to be Sandbox's first opportunity to take one away, and it will be an attacker. CYCLOPS chose to take Thatcher, and it's going to be the Monty ban. Not too much of a surprise. They don't need that to deal with on top of everything else fresh. CYCLOPS, of course, known for their strong shield plays. Aniton coming in. He's a little upset.
I mean, Aniton played a bit of Monty the last time out. He played a lot of Ossa as well, so I'm expecting a very Ossa-filled fixture coming out of this one.
Mirror is going to be the defensive ban. Interesting not to see maybe a Wamai or Jaeger ban potentially from Sandbox. As you say, those difficulties that we saw from them in Playday 1 with not being able to deal with burning that sort of utility to get the frags in, to get the, sort of key components into sight. You maybe have chosen to take one of those away.
Final ban coming out being Clash, which we saw the strategies coming out of Sandbox with the Clash on the office side, and they were running the Clash outside with the Jaeger. ADS is protecting. We saw how Fnatic couldn't deal with it, so it's no surprise to see that ban going straight away. You reviewed the VOD, you just want to get rid of it, and Nova gives a little bit back in the chat. He gives the O back to Aniton.
Well, this is the thing. Of course, we spoke at the time about how Fnatic could potentially have dealt with that Clash. You bring the Kali, you bring the Zofia, you bring, anybody who can deal with that. But it's not necessarily the answer. If you can deal with it ahead of time and avoid having to shape your lineup around dealing with a Clash, then get rid of it. Just take it out of the equation, and that's exactly what CYCLOPS have done. So we're going to get underway here. We head into round number 1. It's going to be T. It's going to be Karaoke Fresh. They are heading over to that west side of the map, and now what's interesting about this compared to old Skyscraper, if we have a little roll back and we consider what the changes were, a lot of the balconies have gone. So what you would historically have seen here, it's not what you're going to see today, but what you would historically have seen is teams just gathering around that west side, try and get into Geisha, try and get control of balcony and straight into site. Whereas now it's going to be much more of an east-sided push. There should be an element of a little bit of pressure from both sides here.
There's much less focus on Geisha. Geisha previously was
far
a big
less
focus
important
point. It was your kind of point of ingress alongside that kind of east push, whereas now it tends, the way it played out on Wednesday was we tended to see teams come across from the east, try to take control of Drum, and then try and attack the site from there. However, now it's different how it used to play in terms of the, like we say, less Geisha control. We tend to see full clears across.
Okay, well, we're going to have Shaol moving in. Interesting Blackbeard pick to start us off, using that Phase Shield to try and give himself any advantage that he can get inside of the gunfights, and that's going to be all the advantage he needs. Fresh as he steps in, gets himself an opener onto Black Ray, and that is going to kick things off pretty well for Sandbox here. But look at the damage on the side of Shaol and Nova. They're going to have to think about managing that health as they progress through the round now.
Straight on the Blackbeard, and I can see Black Ray is probably already quite angry at that one, because if that's not a Blackbeard, he probably gets that kill. And Blackbeard brings pretty much no utility, apart from the fact he can save his life with a shield in front of his face. Suzuki's going to be the kind of next point of call. It looks like he's potentially going to take the wise thing and drop off, as Aniton does look to see if he can get below. Potentially might be able to C4 up if he can retake control of the bedroom side.
He's going to have a challenge in order to do that, though, as Sandbox, I think just aware of his presence. Harper is playing in and around there, and he knows that there's going to be the potential for the push. It's not going to matter that he knows, as Aniton manages to find a nice tight angle through there onto the head. He's going to go for this fresh. He's going to get himself a second one. He's going to have a little peek. It's an absolute freebie as Aniton takes down Shaol, and all of a sudden, CYCLOPS go from a 4 versus 5 into a 4 versus 3 in their favour, and this starts start to fight back here as Ayagator manages to find Envy Taylor as well. And once again, that Sandbox attack on Skyscraper is falling apart.
I absolutely love that from Ayagator. All focus was on Aniton. Ayagator pushes in, gets the kill for one of the players that's trying to get Aniton. It leaves Static in a 1v4 scenario. He knows Aniton's below. He sees the C4, shoots the C4, and he's going to try and have to identify 1v1 fights. Finds the first one, but doesn't get the second one as Ayagator pushes back up and gets the kill.
Nice start from CYCLOPS. We are expecting still a strong defender out in here on Skyscraper. Sandbox, as we said, have they had enough time from 2 days ago? That's all it was. They've had one off day, essentially. It was Wednesday that they last played. They've had Thursday off, and then they come into the Playday today on Friday. And, you know, can they realistically have changed that much? I'm honestly surprised to see them go back to Skyscraper. I'd have thought, just go anywhere else that you're a bit more established and try and get yourself a win. I think there's maybe a little bit of a try and keep other maps under wraps for the latest. You know, you've said they're maybe going to be a team that have a stronger finish to the stage. The problem that I've got with that, if that's the case here, is you can't burn any of this APAC season, realistically. You've only got 7 games. Lose 2 or 3, and it starts slipping away very, very quickly, and you can't come back from it.
I think for Sandbox, the map decision, as you say, it is a really kind of questionable one because you can't solve the issues you had in just one day. And the issues that they had was really that they were using Envy Taylor on the Ossa, particularly to take liberties with droning. And as we just saw there, Aniton was just able to slip in. There was no drones. They had no knowledge. By the time they had knowledge of him, he had 2 kills. A Static gets us going again with a kill onto Black Ray, who was presumably spawn picking. I didn't quite catch where from, and it's a lot of early aggression coming out of CYCLOPS here.
It's not ideal for Black Ray. He's played less than about 25 seconds of the first 2 rounds. He's taken some very early deaths. It didn't matter in the grand scheme of things for CYCLOPS last time around, but they can't keep handing these early round advantages to Sandbox because it is a matter of time until they will close them out. Sandbox just looking for a little bit of ingress through bathroom there. You can see Shio heading in quickly. He's got the drone at his feet, so this is good teamwork. I think it's Envy Taylor that's just drawn in ahead of him. There's a player that's going to be downed. It's Ayagator, so that leaves us effectively in a 5 versus 3 as Shiol indeed gets in there, closes him down, shuts him out of the round, and that is now a good advantage for Sandbox. So they're working from underneath T Karaoke. They're going to get themselves up those black stairs and then sweep across the top of the map. So much the converse of what we said last time around, where they tried to get themselves established on the opposite side. It's very similar to what we see on Villa as a top floor here, is get yourself established in the other bomb site that's not being used and then move your way across.
Gatorado has an opportunity to just get himself back in sight, chooses to take the fight. Suzuki pops up, and again, it's the same thing. Where's the drones? Why don't they know about him? And it's 2 kills coming out of absolutely nowhere through a rotate from the drum into Geisha. If the defenders can get themselves away, they've took the win condition straight back into their own favour.
Huge double kill from Suzuki in the mid-round there, bringing us in towards the final minute now. And Sandbox, you got to get something going. This is looking far too reminiscent of what we saw previously. Get themselves inside the map, establish themselves, and then just fail to progress. Just play ahead of that utility. Just never really push in and get any site control. Stalling out. And that is exactly the effect that double kill has had on them. 50 seconds left to go, and CYCLOPS, they look pretty content here to just hold their angles. You can't lose your life there, Envy Taylor. Don't show too much of yourself to Suzuki. He's already firing inside of this round, and he's looking thirsty for more.
They pretty much have to walk through doorways now, Sandbox. They've not got a lot of drones in hand. They've not got a lot of information. They're going to have to take risks and hope it pays out.
Can see it's the last 25 seconds now. Sandbox have got themselves established in drum, established in terrace, but where does the final push come from? And this is all just going to come down to gunfights. They're not really going to have much of an opportunity, much of an option when it comes to getting the diffuser down. We are into the final 10 now. Aniton watching, he knows his man's there. Smart move, dips away, just lengthens the angle. Static manages to find Suzuki, but a big play from Gatorado.
Oh,
no! How does that happen? He doesn't get the second. He hits the first with the shotgun. Just seems to get caught out. Was he going for a reload? I don't know what. The second shot just didn't come.
Oh, it's belief. You've got to believe in that shotgun and it repays you.
You just got to keep hitting
you just
got
got to shoot. Just
keep shooting at that point.
Oh, that was painful to watch.
There's 6 seconds left. You can just shoot it out.
Sandbox have gotten away with one there because they were absolutely... I'll break that round back down. It was a great entry by Sandbox. They got 2 kills. They got the map control they wanted. Then the droning fell apart. They lost 2 people to a little rotate hold that they didn't even know existed. They hadn't droned that area of the map yet. And they were presented with an opportunity where we've got to walk through 2 doorways at the same time with 10 seconds to go and hope the defenders make a mistake. That's exactly what happened. Aniton lost his fight. The shotgun right at the end there gets 1 down player, doesn't get the second one. Just like you said, just hold on to mouse 1, kill that second person, and round 1 first for Sandbox. Sorry, for Cyclops. And then you 2-0 up. As it is, 1-1 going into round 3.
Just keep clicking. Just keep clicking at that point and you're going to just win yourself the round. But no, it's going to be Sandbox taking one, as you say. I feel like they get away with one there, leaving it very late in the round, having to go in for those gunfights. No real opportunity in execution, and they're just not getting themselves in position to be able to play that objective. And this time, they're going to be attacking onto the lower floor. It's going to be the master bedroom, and we will see if they can just do anything a little bit differently. Maybe get themselves established a little bit sooner, closer to sight. Another good entry. Nova managing to take Alligator through the soft wall. He had a little bit of information to help him. He knew where the player was moving, so just sprays him down there and gets another good start for Sandbox.
First time we've actually seen the master bedroom. We saw Skyscraper twice on Wednesday. Master bedroom not played at all. The reasoning being is this barbecue kitchen as a tertiary site has generally been pretty good to the defenders. So quite interesting to see how this one plays out, because generally it's quite easy to get the vertical above office, get vertical above site, and push the defenders out of sight to then play for a plant as attackers. That's why you don't see it often, or I'm not expecting that we'll see it often.
Oh, very nice from Envy Taylor. Just hitting Aniton on the fadeaway there as he moves away from the edge of that window. Finds the head of his man, and once again, Sandbox in a 5 versus 3. Can Cyclops find one of those big round moments again from somebody like Suzuki picking up a double, but this time Nova, he doubles down, gets himself in, finds a kill onto Black Ray, and all of a sudden things are getting difficult for Cyclops. And whilst it feels like they've been in control for a lot of the first 2 rounds, Fresh, they might just find themselves 2-1 down here.
Immediate redemption from Sandbox. That drone that you saw that got the kill, the third kill there, was crucial, because that same rotate had been used. He was spotted out, he was killed, and Nova got himself 2 kills on the round. They've set themselves up nicely. Now it's just about identifying where the last 2 players are. Incidentally, they're both above site, so if they can just be held, we can possibly make a play into site and try and get that diffuser down. But it's about knowing exactly where they are, what angles they've held, what vertical they've got above sight.
That's it. Sandbox taking the time now. They know that they've got it to spare, and they're just trying to find out exactly what they're going into before they do. But Sandbox, don't leave it too late. Don't keep looking and looking and looking and looking. Sometimes you got to take the confidence to move in there. You're 5v2, take your gunfights and pressure. They haven't cleared out Suzuki from above. They don't seem too concerned in doing so, and it might just come back to bite them as Suzuki gets a kill from above, and that's going to be Static going down, but nades coming in, Gatarada taking down, and then Nova just shifts himself upstairs. Final 2 kills, at least 3 on the round. Not sure if it was potentially 4 for Nova there. A great outing for him in round 3, and that is going to be Sandbox getting themselves a 2-1 lead, and this bodes well for them given that they're on the attack.
A great round for Nova. It was a 4K indeed. He got the wall bang to kick us off, he got that crucial third kill in drum, and he just got the final 2 clips that you see there. Absolutely huge. And all things considered, because we've made this point, he is the coach. He is playing that entry role because he's waiting for Good Boy to come in. And I tell you what, he's playing it well.
He is, you know, that's like you say, fantastically well. It's pretty much won them the round there, and they're going to be looking for plenty more of that. 5-2 so far for Nova, so going well. They just need a couple of the others to step up and maybe replace those kills as well, so that they don't have to be so reliant on him. This time, Cyclops, they're going to take us to the 4th site. We've had a complete tour of Skyscraper to kick us off here on Cyclops' defence. It's going to be kitchen and barbecue. So what are going to be the key battlegrounds here. Where are they looking at, Fresh? Where is this fight going to go down?
So we had a few different ways of attacking it when we saw this Wednesday. What a lot of teams will do is they will start with office. They will try and work kind of laterally across from the east side. They'll go office, try and take control of drum, the mezzanine area, and then ultimately what they want control of is geisha, because then they're looking for geisha for a kitchen plant. However, Damwon Kia, when they played this, they got themselves as far as drum and just put pressure enough on geisha with one guy on the window, one guy kind of holding it from the drum, the long hallway, just keeping the defenders at bay, and then quickly and swiftly rotated through to pantry and forced numbers through pantry. So that's what I'm kind of hoping coming out of Sandbox here. Don't get too hung up on fully controlling the top floor. Just try and kind of keep the defenders at bay up there and then try and hit the kitchen site.
That's it. As I said, I think we saw out of this site last Playday was a very similar attitude towards it as it used to play out, try and get control of geisha, but as you say, not really strictly necessary with the changes that have come in. So we'll see how Sandbox do with this one. They're going to be looking for a strong entry once again. They've had themselves a good number of opening kills so far. Every single round, Shio, Static, Nova, all getting in on those entry stats. It's going to be Harper this time who's looking to push into the map immediately, getting the wall opened up into the office there, looking just to give a couple of entry options to his team, and then we'll potentially be looking onto the drones, but it's actually going to be Irrigator this time who finds Static to open things up. Black Ray getting in with a double as well. He's been quiet so far, but certainly awake here in round number 4, and what a start we're seeing out of Cyclops.
I question if they know whether Black Ray was there or not, because I didn't see many drones at all. As we now see Nova, he manages to find himself a pickup kill, and he's playing pretty much for exit frags. Once again, once you're in this scenario, you need to identify 1v1s. You tend to have a lot of movement. He's probably just walked into site for absolute free, peeks up the hatch. The defenders now know where he is, and secondary shots will come out of Suzuki as he looks to be finishing off a reinforcement there and gets the kill, and that's the round.
Good round from Cyclops, got themselves a much better start. What was interesting for me in that round was the fact that Cyclops came in with their first entry kill of the game. It's the first one they've picked up, but the round was over 15 seconds later. It was just such a quick finish. As soon as they started getting that roll, Black Ray obviously had his big double in the middle, and it just completely shut the round down for Sandbox. So for me, that's saying Sandbox need to be looking to have a good entry game here, because when they've taken that first punch, they've had a little bit of a glass jaw. They've not reacted very well to it.
It's consistency as well. We've seen fits and spurts of where they've been good droning, they've got the good entry off the back of the droning, but that round it seemed almost non-existent. And we said it earlier, it's just how important the entry kill can be to conversion into round wins. We're seeing it so far today, pretty much every round. If you've got the entry, you've won the round.
So we move into round 5. We're all square at the minute, and Cyclops are going to bring us back into tea and karaoke. It was the site that we saw back in round 1. Cyclops did get the win here, but again, it was one of them rounds where you feel like Sandbox were maybe just a little bit tentative after getting themselves the opener, getting themselves the advantage. They were just a little bit slow, stalled out, and didn't get enough pressure across. So they're going to be looking to clear the east side to begin with, I would imagine, move themselves in through office and exhibition, try and get themselves on top of Cyclops in terms of numbers.
Moving in, we'll see Envy. He'll go across from the office side using the Mav, and I just want to highlight Envy actually, because they were using him more as a information gatherer for, you know, as we say, Monty and Ossa. I think they've realised there's value in having the additional breaching capacity of the Maverick and also the nades to come in later on. And I think it's really smart from Sandbox. It's it is only a small adaptation. He's still playing quite aggressively, trying to get into those, clear those initial positions out. However, they've got a bit more utility to do the work with to get into the building. Yeah,
it was something that we said we needed to see out of them. That was one of the key areas, one of the key issues that really slowed down the attacks on Wednesday, and we'll see if they'll speed them up consistently here today, which it seems to have been a little bit of hit and miss so far. But Maverick making quick work of the reinforcement there, which is going to give access into office. But I'm just focusing on that clock, Fresh. We're nearly halfway through the round, and we don't have anybody inside of the map for Sandbox yet.
No, and that's the biggest thing that this map's going to come down to is time. Do they know that there's a defender even in there? Static's not playing like he knows there's a defender immediately in the office, as the Cade Claw will get one. He does. In the end, it's Shao that picks up Black Ray. Good point of ingress. Now they need to know about the player on the VIP stairs there. They need to know about Alligator and see if they can deal with him. If not, we're going to see the same thing coming out of Sandbox, where they're going to struggle in the mid-round.
Alligator just on a little roam underneath, trying to keep himself mobile, but not mobile enough, as Sandbox are well aware of his movements and will pick up the kill. MV Taylor managing to find that one, and once again, how many times have we seen this so far? Sandbox in a 5 versus 3, getting themselves a good advantage. Can they get the dividends from it? Are they able to push forward and take further control here? I'd really like to see an opportunity, a plank going down for Sandbox here. Get yourself the time, get yourself those execution moments where you can get in there and play the objective rather than always relying on the kills. As it stands, they are still pushing through Drum, trying to get themselves up towards the site itself. But Gatarada, he's going to need dealing with on those stairs.
And that's the thing, is these positions, ultimately this attack's coming down to walking through 2 doorways again. Maybe they get a person playing balcony. It looks like Aniton's ready for this. Will peek it, will find some shots, but ultimately to no prevail.
Aniton, as you say, just taking the peak, just burning the time. He's going to continue to do so, but the pressure will mount. 10 seconds left to go. Suzuki finds an important kill onto Nova, and this is the problem sometimes for Sandbox. Too little, too late. Diffuser down. Gatarada with a big double there to close it out for Cyclops, and once again, Fresh had nearly half the round. 5 versus 3 for Cyclops, and they were just unable to close it out. Unable.
Admittedly, Office came down to a shotgun, not... a double pump shotgun not quite hitting its shots. Very last second. The issue they faced when they attacked this last time, it was the same issue they faced in this just previous round just gone. They had to walk through 2 doorways with 15 seconds to go. So I'm looking for them to increase the pace and also put some pressure on either the actual breach or the window on the balcony just outside of Office as well.
Well, they've got static on the thermite, so as you said, they've got the tools at hand. They've got the hard breach there
to go and now.
Open it. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the move onto the... They've got the facility to be able to open up those angles, as you say. For me, they need to be careful not to just open up angles. I think you're absolutely right. They need to open up an actual point of ingress. They need to be able to give themselves an opportunity to go into the map somewhere else rather than having to funnel through 2 doors. If you're in a 3v5 and you're as a defender and you're coming into the last 10 seconds and you know that they're going to have to come through single doors... That's an absolute joy. That is your best
You're
chance.
happy to be in a 3v5 in that point.
That's your best chance of closing out a 3v5, is being able to funnel the attackers like that. So Sandbox need to make sure that they're not playing into that.
Seeing a little bit of Valkyrie play.
Still very powerful.
We didn't see a lot of bans coming out on Wednesday in the APAC North Playday 1 of Valkyrie, and it's probably to do with the nerf that she did receive, which means that, the cams, they only last for a limited duration once they're thrown outside. It's 10 seconds, so they're of very little use. They've got to be very situational to have impact when they're thrown outside. Now, teams are not playing her, but she can still be useful. The fact that she's not banned, it can just... That information game, we know Sandbox have difficulty locating physical players in the main round. How are they going to locate some very nicely placed Valk cams? I saw one go inside a cabinet, for example. It can be used to devastate an effect, especially when a team's still... the map's still new. There's still a lot of unexplored Valcam points on this particular map.
Certainly is. We've got Nova on the drones there, just drawn in for himself, I believe, before he goes in for the entry on the Finker. And we've got a large top 4 presence on the tea and karaoke side from Cyclops. They're going to be trying to hold on to this entire top floor to prevent the movement coming across from east to west, I think it is, from Karaoke Tea over to the office side, which is where they are located for the time being. But as you can see, we've got a line of 3 defenders all the way up to Tea and Karaoke, but Black Ray taking a lot of damage there. He's managing to escape. He's going to keep himself led prone inside a site and just see if he can have any impact with those final few hit points that he's got left. He's got Suzuki on the cover, and it's his other man who was up there on the front line with him, Ayagator. He's going to be holding on to his position and getting a kill on to Shayo, but that's going to be traded out quickly as MV Taylor manages to get Black Ray.
He was literally playing the bait there, and he's wasted so much time. Once again, we're in this same scenario of time, little drone in. Suzuki's got himself in a little off position here, where if somebody walks out of this T-door right on him, there's a player quite close to him, it's probably quite a free kill. We see the drone, it's gone into drum, it's not even checked this mezzanine area, and this means that, realistically, MV Taylor could be in a spot of bother right now.
Suzuki, they're unaware him, but he doesn't get his man. He does find the second attempt, surely not another. He manages to wriggle away, get himself into Dragon, and he will continue fighting here, just continue trying to hold back that tide that is Sandbox trying to push across. But with time running out, this could be a problem for them. Fresh Nova manages to find Suzuki and shut him down, but only 15 seconds left. And how many times are we going to say this for Sandbox? They're in the same position. They're going to be going in through those single doors, trying to find and win gunfights, and they're not going to get as lucky this time as Anaton manages to shut down the first, manages to get himself a second, and surely that's the round as Gatorada, he finishes things off for Cyclops, and that's going to be 4-2 on the defensive half. And now Sandbox, they don't have a choice but to defend every bit as well as they did on Wednesday.
We did a lot of talking about Sandbox in that first half and what went wrong, but I just like to pay homage to Cyclops there. Because what they did is they used Black Ray as the bait. He was the focal point that Sandbox were trying to deal with. Anaton was there to try and get kills, with Black Ray being the bait. Suzuki was there trying to get kills. Once Black Ray died, Suzuki then adopted that role, but in the middle part of the map, in the Dragon area, he got his kill, and then he's like, do you know what, guys? I'm going to be the bait, because they're going to push in on him. And then I think it was Anaton again, got another kill off the back of the bait, and it was just so delay, have a central point that Sandbox were focusing on, and then just force them out of time. And it worked absolutely perfectly once again. It's worked twice. Obviously, they did lose the first time with that, the late round. But that last round, it worked absolutely perfectly. They win the round off the back of it.
That's often my role within the rank stack, I feel.
It's
the bait.
It's the bait.
Yeah.
You make others look good, Ace. That's what you do.
Is that what I do? I'm not convinced. It certainly don't.
You're a valued ranked stackman.
I am a valuable member of the team. That's what I start shouting when people call me out for my KD. We're going to be heading into the second half. It's going to be a Sandbox gaming on the defence this time around. They're going to take us to tea and karaoke to start things off. Interesting, they brought the Frost along this time, so we're going to keep an eye on those traps and see if Envy Taylor manages to snap any shot on any legs. He's going to be challenging straight away on to the reception window there, just trying to keep them out of the building, keep hold of that lower floor.
And he's just trying to be a thorn in the side here. Really just try and find a cheap early engagement where, the bottom floor potentially hasn't been droned. It's not crucial to have been droned if you are Cyclops, because you just want to worry about the ground that you do want. What is crucial here is Ayageta knows about Static, gets the kill onto Static, and that is a great entry for Cyclops.
It is. Fantastic start for them. And the thing is, I feel like if this first round goes against Sandbox, it starts getting very, very difficult for them. They're 5-2 down. They're reliant on the defence now. And if Ayageta and the rest of Cyclops are able to walk in and find kills like that, it's not going to make life easy for them. And they could well find themselves on the way to a second loss consecutively on Skyscraper here. So then you start asking questions about that map choice as well, which we already have to a degree. Now then, Sandbox, they're quite spread out here, Fresh. Yeah. They've got one still over on the side of Office Exhibition. We've got one still playing underneath, I think, at this point. And so it's going to be quite difficult for them to hold on to site should Cyclops start to put a bit more pressure directly in there.
I like this from Cyclops. It's not one we've seen. Like we said, we've generally seen from the Office across. Teams have at least taken Office. Cyclops have chosen to go. I said they might not want the ground below. Turns out they want it. They've got 6 nades on hand. Obviously, a couple of them have been used. They've got 4 remaining nades. If they can clear out the karaoke room, because they've breached Geisha, they can look to try and get a plant in this karaoke room, as we'll see Black Ray. He's going to push up the stairs. He knows Nova's above him, though.
Fantastic little vertical nade from him there, just to keep the man advantage in the favour of Cyclops. 4 versus 3. Nova just looking to relocate himself out of karaoke there. He knows that the pressure is mounting, but that's going to open up the opportunity for Cyclops to push up these rear stairs should they take the choice. They've got the Maverick on the rappel as well. Anaton's going to be holding things down, looking in towards site, but I'm not sure exactly where Gatorada's approaching from with diffuser in hand at the minute. Sandbox are holding on well here. Envy Taylor taking fights downstairs, just trying to burn time, just trying to divert attention from the bomb site itself and avoid that push coming in from Cyclops. Harper does find Black Ray, and that leaves us now in a 2 versus 3. 15 seconds left to go. Gatorada has the opportunity to get the diffuser down, but it's not going to be an easy one as the pressure mounts. The cover is there, and here comes Cyclops. How have they managed it from being being a man down. They are now 2-1 up. Diffuser down. Anaton finds the final kill, and that's going to be CYCLOPS finding a way. And that is what teams are going to need to do here on Skyscraper Fresh. Find a way on the attack.
It was very clearly not the plan, as we see a Fairmite just kind of, you saw it right at the end there. The plan was very clearly get into Geisha and then push into Karaoke using your smokes to cover the hallway, because they had an idea. Well, they would know. They didn't take control of Drum, therefore there will be a defender playing there holding that long hallway to the Geisha. Use the smokes, get into Karaoke. Apart from, the wall wasn't vaultable, so we're seeing a Fairmite sprint through smokes and just, you make the best of the situation. Exactly what it did. The plan was going down and the Maverick covers, gets great free K to cover it off there. Great round by CYCLOPS. What I liked from Sandbox, however, was they realised pretty quickly, it was Envy Taylor who realised it, was that CYCLOPS weren't doing a conventional attack from office. Therefore, Envy Taylor, he got active, he got underneath, and he put a lot of pressure, he drew a lot of attention away from the attack that CYCLOPS were trying to do, back onto himself. Ultimately, though, it was to no avail.
I'm glad to see CYCLOPS playing well. I've been pretty hard on CYCLOPS over the first Playday and today, for good reason. I know how good a team they are, and I know what they can do, and I want to see it out of them. And they hadn't shown it us so far. Obviously, I asked a couple of questions on the pre-show about, was it that they were sort of a big fish in a little pond last year, and are they being challenged more by the other teams now? So we're just seeing them struggle a little bit more, but we are certainly seeing them dominate here, and that's what we want. Get some momentum behind them and start racking up some wins here in APAC North. I want every single team in this league fighting for that top spot, because that is what creates the best siege for us to possibly watch. Now, Envy Taylor, a little bit of a risk here. They are defending downstairs. It's going to be barbecue and kitchen. He's playing exactly the same position as he was last time, in and around restaurant and bar. So he needs to be careful, because if CYCLOPS read into that, they might just be a little bit of a cheap entry for them to find.
And that's exactly, we say it's the name of the game. Once again, the entry kills are absolutely dominant on this map in terms of converting into round wins. I've only got 2 rounds out of the 7 we've played where the entry kill hasn't been dominated. That means in 5 rounds, once you get the entry kill, you are almost guaranteed the win of the round. It is that important. So Envy Taylor, he needs to realise the value of his life, and luckily he has stayed alive for a minute and a half so far.
Well, that's it. 5 out of 7. You're looking, about somewhere around 80%?
I can't do that math quickly in my head.
It's not correct, isn't that maths? But it's not a million miles away. Just to give you an idea, like I say, usually I think we would expect to see on attack with entry, it's usually about 73 to 75% of rounds that are won. So we are seeing it, potentially just a little bit higher here. So CYCLOPS, as you say, they're going to be looking to just continue that trend, really. Get themselves in, get the entry, and then get themselves onto that all-important match point, because that is what is going to happen should they find another round. Nova, he's just going to hold himself back here. He's trying to be patient. He knows that there's somebody to be had here. He's going to go for the jump out. He can't see the man on the rappel, and he has to go back in empty-handed. Meanwhile, CYCLOPS, they're getting all the gifts. Find themselves an opener with Gatarada managing to take down Harper, but Envy Taylor is there for the trade, but traded back out himself by Irrigator, and CYCLOPS are just looking like an unstoppable force at the minute.
And once again, they're going direct. They're not doing the traditional takes we've seen coming out of other teams so far. They're going direct. They're jumping in the bathroom window. They're on the kitchen window. They're going towards pantry as well. And then late, Irrigator, they have no idea Irrigator's here. He's just creeping about upstairs. He's managed to find the entry, get himself upstairs, and he can be absolutely devastating in this round. As his team look for the execute, he can just shoot the defenders looking down the vertical.
Suzuki's going to find Nova, and it's all falling apart for Sandbox here fresh. You just feel like maybe the game is run for them. They just don't seem to be able to get anything going at the minute, and CYCLOPS are just on top of absolutely every one of them. Shio, absolutely no idea he was going to be pushed there. Static, he's just wheeling left and right, trying to find anything he can with the DMR, but he will find absolutely nothing as CYCLOPS close it out in the 3v1. They shut it down, take themselves onto match point, and that is going to be 6-2 now for CYCLOPS, and they are cruising on Skyscraper.
Again, I'm really loving the attacks. It's just so completely different from what we've seen normally in terms of we've normally seen teams at least start upstairs. It's always about the top floor and then working down. Not CAG. They go for the windows. They go for the pantry. They collapse into sight. And you saw it exactly there. It was I can't remember who was playing the Twitch, but I think it was Irrigator, if I remember rightly. gets the kill onto the Jaeger, not even looking at him. That's just how clinical it can be when they have no intel that you're there whatsoever. Really liking this style of attack from CYCLOPS, and it's traditional CYCLOPS, right? It's new, it's different, it's not what you would expect from the norm, and it can be so effective.
Another round as well going in favour of that statistic that you gave us. Entry kill goes to Gatorada, round goes to CYCLOPS. Sandbox, what do they do here, Fresh? They're 2-6 down. They've gone back to karaoke and tea. How do they change things up at this point?
Stop losing the entry. Could be a great start to do it. I think this was the problem that Sandbox had when they were against Fnatic, is that they weren't reading what their opponent was doing until it was too late. It's the same kind of thing today. They're setting up their strategy, and CYCLOPS are not doing the attack that strategy is set up for. So they need to start thinking about how they disrupt CYCLOPS in that. Move player positions, move utility positions. Maybe, you know, try and get a little bit active on the melee. Really try and force those fights at a different part of the map to where they've been taken. Do something a little bit different, because realistically, you're 2-6 down. You need to win. Well, you have to. You need to win every round if you're even going to get a point out of this fixture.
Envy Taylor, once again, just trying to play this mobile role, trying to get himself in and around the map, but takes half of his damage earlier in the round and tries to get a little peek out onto the rappel there. But CYCLOPS, they're well aware and they're ready for it. And this is what I love to see out of them. Much more prepared, I think, than we saw them back in Playday 1. So going very well, Suzuki. He's going to be drawn in for the time being, trying to find these players on the lower floor. They know that it's something Sandbox are doing. I don't know if Envy knows he's been drawn there. He certainly will as the red pin comes out. He's going to head himself back upstairs towards Office Exhibition and maybe try to sweep his way across that top floor and get himself back safely to site.
There's a player not droned by the bathroom window here, and if Suzuki isn't careful, he could get jumped out on, which is exactly what we're going to see from Nova. He does shoot through the flag, does find a kill, and will get back inside with a sliver of health. But a great entry from Nova, great initiative, and it was poor drone in there from Suzuki.
Well started, and that's going to be the book taken out. Not too much of a problem, given that they're going to be working on a top floor site, but still the opportunity for Book, of course, to get in underneath and to open things up and move those defenders around. But look at the health on the side of Sandbox, Fresh. They've looked better and healthier, I can tell you that. There are a number of players now on very low health, and they're going to have to be careful here, especially with an operator like Finker on the other side, because CYCLOPS can just double down on this. They can get the nanobots going, they can get that extra juice in the system and make it even more tough for Sandbox to be winning out those gunfights. Blackray, he's trying to get himself inside of the building now. He knows he's one there, but he just peeks away at the wrong time. Harper takes full advantage. Nova in on the action as well. Gatorada's got himself inside the site, but there's going to be a lot of work to be done here. 2 versus 3, effectively 2 versus 2 as that kill comes in. Harper is down, of course, and it's all falling apart. How many times can I say the same thing about Sandbox? It's all up to Envy Taylor now in a 1 versus 2. He's got himself in a position where he can hold an angle here, but Gatorada's getting the diffuser down. He's going to have to make a move. He's going to have to try and do something for Sandbox, and shut down as he steps into the line of sight of Anaton, and that's going to be CYCLOPS closing this one out in very quick fashion.
Once again, you find a way to win, and that's exactly what you need to do. CYCLOPS had no right, absolutely no right to be winning that particular round, but they find a way to win. The Fairmite used his smokes so effectively just to cut those lines of sight, get himself